Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with Fighter Pod Precision on a daily basis. Monday, June 14th, Flag Day, the day before taxes are due here in Texas. All kinds of exciting stuff going on this week. We have a Fed meeting, which is what we're going to talk about today. Kind of explaining some of the terms, if you don't understand them completely already, that's going to go into the Federal Reserve announcement this week. As with every week, they're going to talk about taper tantrum. So that's our question of the day, is what is a taper tantrum? And then we're also going to talk about the company BlackRock, where if you're not familiar with BlackRock is a company that the Fed hires to do all the bond buying that the Federal Reserve has done as a portion of the quantitative easing for COVID, right? We did the same thing back in 2008, 2009 as well. And, there's the inflation talk. Should the Federal Reserve raise rates? Should they keep them the same? Should they taper their bond buying? That's all the stuff that we're going to talk about this week. But before we do, I just put the longs and shorts in the room. Just sorry for not putting those in earlier. There's actually a really good short. Well, actually, all three are pretty good. The Invax long, I'm going to switch over to this a little bit early, because there's one that I recommend taking early, actually, and I hardly ever recommend this, but there's all the right reasons for it. And looking at, we'll go Invax long, BTX long. We'll get to those stories here in a minute. But this oxygen short, Ocugen, not oxygen, Ocugen, they got hit up for potential securities violations. So you see kind of this drop off here. I think this sells off throughout the day. So if you want to be super aggressive, you can take it pre-market here at 6 with a 610 stop. Use a 10-cent stop, taking it low. We'll see how it opens. I think it falls right at the open, so you want to be as aggressive. Don't take your normal full size here. So if you're going to take stuff pre-market, here's how you play it. You take a fourth to a third. So if your sizing is going to end up being 400 shares based off a 10-cent stop or whatever your math works out to be, take literally a fourth of it or a third of it, and then set your ticker symbols up to take the rest of it. So your R math, because you're only taking a fraction, changes significantly to where you have to manually watch it. You can't set in your stops pre-market. That's why you don't take the full amount. You only take a portion of the amount. And that way, if you're right, you already have some at a great price. If you're wrong and you get stopped out, you only are losing that 1/4 of an R or 1/3 of an R. But you do have to watch it and go in there and manually sell. So if you want to take Ocugen early short, $6, above $6 is your entry point there. All right. Let's go back to what we were talking about as far as this morning. We will get into what a taper tantrum is, what it means for the markets, where do you want your money, all of that once we get to the open. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you know we go live every day. And if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month to come on in to the room and join us. So pretty good. What you don't see is a chat room as well as a Q&A room for people to ask me questions. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, a little bit of technical difficulty on my part there. We'll get better at that. All right, here's your lineup card for today. Monday, June 14th, again, Flag Day. All right, make sure you have your Q&A and your chat window set up appropriately. Standard disclaimer applies. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at OTOTnow.com. All right, our mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Specifically talking about how to make money off of the taper tantrum situation. Is it going to happen this week? No, I don't think so. But it's going to happen eventually, right? And when it does, you want to be positioned appropriately for that. But we're going to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about the involvement of BlackRock. BlackRock is the largest bond company in the world. They are the ones that the Federal Reserve charged with executing the bond buying that they came out with. Again, it was March, I think 25th if you remember exactly, you can throw the date in the room. But that's when the Federal Reserve came out and said, hey, we're going to buy all the bonds out. If you remember, the stock market was getting hit in early March, and we're breaking records on the way down. That all made sense. But also the bond market was getting hit, and you were having investment grade bonds drop from investment grade down into junk status. So that's, it's the triple B level. If you fall out of triple B, or to double B, then you're junk, or high yield is the polite way of saying it. Junk is the slang, if you will. But you were having what's called a fallen angel situation. You're having investment grade bonds fall into the high yield, which if you hold an investment grade bond fund, what does the bond fund manager have to do in that situation? They have to sell the bond. So you're in the middle of things falling off a cliff anyway, and you're getting fund managers that simply have to sell because of the definition of things. So the Federal Reserve went in and propped up the bond market. If you have individual bonds, you've seen that they dip down, right? And they're all back, and they're all back in spades, right? So you could argue whether we really need to prop it up anymore, but that's what's going to be talked about this week. Or it's what's not going to be talked about this week by the Fed. So we'll see. I think it's too early for them to do it. I don't make the rules, they do. But we'll see what they end up saying. Again, the Federal Reserve meeting, it goes on to both Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern is the announcement, where they will either raise rates or leave them the same, and then they go out with a 1 or 2 page type commentary that goes with it. So all of that is going on this week. For the flow for today, long, short, open, short, long, we're going to go around market review around the world. We're going to talk about the headline review from the weekend, including, of course, an Elon Musk tweet, because it wouldn't be a weekend without one. We're talking about our long-term investments are just BLK, which is BlackRock, which has been amazing. And I continue to hold this thing, and I think it's an inflation trade. So again, BlackRock, the only reason to really sell BlackRock is to lighten up on the amount of it you have if you've had it for a long time, or not, right? Or hold it, because it hasn't gone up 5 times like a smaller name can, but it's just been trucking higher. I think we bought it in the 400s. It's close to 900. It's been amazing. We'll get into short-term execution again. If you're looking at OCGN, it's at 605 right now, so you can take a piece short here pre-market. If you want. Otherwise, just wait for the open, but you may not get an entry. I think it'll fall off a cliff. So again, for somebody that showed up late in the room, let me put these in for you again. Again, no welcome message, just the longs and the shorts. Why is that not copying? Copy, paste. There we go. OCGN is the one I'm talking about there, for the folks who just joined. OCGN short, if you pull the chart, you can take it anywhere here, take a small amount pre-market if you want to be aggressive, or wait for the open. All right, contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's go ahead and take a look around. We'll take a look at TD Ameritrade Think Pipes. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So again, this is the anywhere above 6 to 610, you can take this short. Again, if you take a smaller amount, we're going to end up using a 10-cent stop. But if you take a smaller amount, you can go all the way up to 30 cents, right? And that's 1R. But I would say if it hits 610 pre-market, just go ahead and sell it and then take the regular entry, if you will. All right, or if you buy it here, just go up to 617 and give yourself a 10-cent stop pre-market. All right, let's go around the world real quick. Here's our S&P 500. We're bouncing off of new highs, and we may continue today. The S&P is very slightly in the green this morning. All right, when you go into the 5-day chart, well, you can see kind of a steady move up. The Federal Reserve meeting and Bitcoin are about the only things in the news right now. There's a new infrastructure bill that came out. It'll get peeled back this week. There's the G7 meeting that happened this weekend, which is largely a yawn from climate control. Yeah, that's what they talk about every time. But nothing really truly market moving, if you will. And all right, and setting up for our longs and shorts for a Monday, which again, it's tough to trade on Mondays because you don't quite have the volume you normally have or the sensationalized headlines. But Invax long on their COVID-19 vaccines, 90% effective in phase 3 trials. So that's good, but it's kind of late to the proms. I don't think this thing is going to scream higher, but it's probably worth going long. And then BTX is Brooklyn Immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is something I've been looking into quite a bit lately. And then they bought a stem cell company called Novellus Therapeutics. So again, they're higher on that acquisition. This point's a little easier to trade, and it's already been up to 17 this morning. So that has a lot of room to be able to ride up there with a 20-cent stop. So pretty attractive from a trading perspective. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at CNBC.com, and you'll see what I'm talking about as far as the futures. Again, largely flat with the NASDAQ up slightly there. We'll come back to those here in a minute. Asia mixed. Europe is slightly in the green across the board. There's our numbers from Friday that took us higher to a new record in the S&P. Here's your, this is why, the Fed, if the Federal Reserve meeting, they had one when the bond, when the 10-year was up around 1.7 or so. So again, that's if they thought they were going to actually raise rates or stop the bond buying, that sort of thing. That's when everybody thought it would happen. Is it going to happen down here around 1.5? Certainly, I don't think so. Near really does anybody else, but it's going to be talked about all week long. Oil's still hanging out above 70. Gold and silver have been selling off. So again, this is the inflation trade. So with the 10-year down below 1.5 again, everybody's like, okay, it was transitory, like the pros were saying it was. But we'll see, right? We've had two big inflation number prints recently, almost 5% off of both April and May. We'll see. I still think it's transitory myself, but I can't guarantee that's right. But that's what most of the pros are saying on here. It's really just more of the political folks that are involved screaming about government spending and such, which is an issue, don't get me wrong, but it's not causing inflation. So we'll see who's right in the end. And then talking crypto again, Musk suggests that they're going to, Tesla will start using, you can buy crypto to buy your Tesla again in the future once the environmental impact is solved or better than 50%. So you'll probably see more of a headline here in a second based on that. Okay. Paul Tudor Jones was on CNBC this morning, gave a great interview talking about, he says he has 80% of his portfolio on the sidelines waiting to see what the Fed is going to do today. And I mean, you hear something like that and you just obviously can't believe a word that anybody says, because nobody manages billions of dollars is going to have 80% of their portfolio in cash right now. That's just he's going to be called out on that all day long. Because obviously he doesn't. Now, if he's calling stuff on the sidelines his normal portfolio, that's certainly not the sidelines that anybody would think out there. But he's in 5% gold and he's worried about inflation. So also another thing that doesn't match with reality, because if you're worried about inflation, you would have a lot more than a 5% holding in gold. I might even have that in the book, and I don't like holding gold, but we're certainly adding it over time because of inflation. All right. Kind of want to see what this is about real quick on what they're doing with Tesla. I see Tesla got either an upgrade or downgrade. I got to find it here. Okay, lowers price target from 812 to 974. Tesla right now is sitting at, I think, 600, 612 right now. So people are starting, when they make these outside, this is why you can't trust analysts, right? They put something silly like 974 out there. And then when they go to, they either wait to see if they're right, but if the stock keeps going down when it's down to 600, they move their target from 974 to 812. Okay, thanks for your insight. Here's BlackRock that we're talking about today. Morgan Stanley says top pick. Also, BlackRock stands to gain from an inflation trade as well. So there's other ways for BlackRock to win other than just buying all the bonds out there. I don't know what they're getting paid to buy the bonds. That is one thing that has never really been released. Consumer spending 20% higher. Yep, I believe that. Than pre-COVID. I believe that. Obviously, it's a lot higher than during COVID. Ooh, Washington Prime filed for Chapter 11. We had some Washington Prime bonds, but sold them months ago because we saw that writing on the wall. Okay, that's it. Let's take a look at BlackRock stock real quick before we get up to the open. So here's BlackRock. Obviously, it's been on a tear. What you don't have is the chart back here where it was, during COVID, but snapping out of that. The bond buying was announced, over here left of the chart. But even then, the stock hung around 500 for a long time, popped up to 600, a lot of congestion, and just a steady march higher to 880. Can it top 1,000? Yes, probably by the end of the year. No, I don't think so. But it's going to give you that kind of traditional, if you want something that is a, just an ironclad holding in your portfolio, this is a great one. If you're in retirement or you just want to reduce volatility, this is a great holding, and you get 1.88% while you wait. It used to be 2%, but the stock price has gone up. So PE is definitely reasonable. A lot of things to like about BlackRock here. Great leadership in Larry Fink. He's been there forever, and he probably will be there forever. So really doing all things right, and they're trusted by the Federal Reserve, so you got to like that. All right, let's go over to Think Pipes and get set up for the trade of the day. Give me just a second. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target trade of the day. We have 10 seconds to the market open, and you have 4 screens in front of you. On the far left is a 1-minute screen for the S&P 500. You can see that we were up earlier, came back down. There's the opening bell, nice and loud, so everybody in the neighborhood can hear it, and popping up to slightly in the green. So here's your trade in OCGN. I said take it pre-market. I kind of want to just take it here with the full amount. In a perfect world, it would back up. But that's what we're looking at first is OCGN short. Get zoomed in here. We'll get more resolution. It did touch 610. So if you took that pre-market trade, now you're looking to add instead of necessarily leave this. So again, remember the math works to where it can go all the way up to 630 and you're still out an R point. You're only at 1 R. But if you add here, we're going to say 615 is a high, 605 is our new entry point to the downside. So again, 615 is the above the high of the day, 605 to the downside is where we're going to take it on this secondary entry, unless it goes higher from here. So plenty of volume. This is all short covering that's taking it higher here. So waiting on the official entry at 605. Okay, 605 still works. It held that 615 level. We'll see. There it touched 615. I'm still happy with it. Okay, it's powering higher. We're going to get a better entry here. So now 620, 610 is now your entry for the short. 610 covered at the top at 620. I know as soon as I look away, this thing's going to drop like a rock. So that's why I have to kind of stare at it right here. All right, we're going to get a new entry on this. So 630 and 620 is now your entry with a 630 stop. 620 short. Nope, that's not holding either. This thing's almost back to even. All right, 625 with the 635 cover. There's your 625, taking it short. 635 is the above the high of the day. We're going to try to take it here. And again, it's a 10-cent stop. So again, that short at 625 was my entry with a 635 cover. And we'll be ready to be out of it if that 635 doesn't hold. And there it didn't hold. So back out of the trade, busted trade, down an R and a third if you took the earlier one there. So I don't take trades again, but man, this is a pretty good one. So again, if you waited, if you didn't take mine, here it's going to hit. So right, so 640 would be the high day, 630 is the entry point, 620, 10, 6 even is going to be your exit for your 3R point. But it's not where I took it, busted out. So we shall see. So no short there working in OCGYN. All right, market selling off. Let's look at Invax long. No real entry in the Invax long. BTX sold off here. So if you tracked that down, you knew I said I liked it. So 1530, you would have had to go 1525. So your entry point would have been 1545 with a 20-cent stop. If you're taking this long out at 1605, it just hit that. So yeah, this trade would have worked had we taken BTX long on the acquisition, but we didn't take it. All right, and then there's OCGN. So all right, let's take a look at our other short we had out there, UPST. That one backed up, did not work at all. If you followed it up, nah, that would have been the same kind of tough entry. Gosh, look at OCGNs in the green. Look at Invax falling like a rock. It's crazy Monday out there, so just take the 1 hour hit and don't sit here and trade all day into this craziness. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the rest of the world. All right, TQLB, it's a small player up 17%. AMC up 10. Clickstream up a little bit. Let's look at the CLIS chart. This is extremely high risk, but you can see it's been in play lately for the past 5 days from 15 cents all the way up to kind of 25 cents. There's a lot of talk about something's going to happen in Clickstream. We'll see. There's always a lot of talk in the penny stocks if something's going to happen. So don't get excited and think that something is going to happen just because people are squawking about it. All right, win is Wendy's. Got an upgrade this morning. CRISPR Therapeutics up. Coupang Software Company is up. Luckin's up. Let's look at Luckin real quick. Luckin's been kind of marching higher. Touched 975 last week, or let's see, Thursday, before kind of settling in and resuming it March back higher. It'd be kind of be nice, really, what I'm looking at is, yeah, I don't care what it does on a daily basis, right? Because it can go up or down 20, 30 cents over absolutely nothing. So I don't care about that. What I really would like to see is this congestion between 880 and 9 to hold. In other words, I would like to see it not drop below this 880 level because it's kind of tested it 3 times. So if that becomes a floor, now you kind of have what I remember we talked about last week, that asymmetric upside to where you're going to, potential to lose a little bit, but you have all the upside out there. So still excited about the Luckin Coffee. I'm going to Google their earnings release date coming up.